All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into some seriously mind-bending classified telemetry data that could completely flip everything we know about space on its head. We're talking about traces of actual celestial engineering hidden right in our own solar system. So let's just jump right into what this data is actually telling us, because trust me, it's a wild ride.
Before we get into the hard evidence, I want you to keep one massive question in the back of your mind. Here it is. Is our solar system just a random, natural occurrence? Or was it intentionally designed by an advanced intelligence so that civilizations like ours could be born? Basically, is the chaotic space we've always been taught about actually a carefully managed ecosystem? Let's see what the probes are actually picking up out there. Okay, let's dive straight into the core hypothesis of this classified dossier. The data we're looking at completely breaks away from normal astronomy. It's actually suggesting that our giant gas planets are being managed by environmental maintenance infrastructure. We're not just talking about random chunks of ice and rock here. We're talking about macro-scale celestial engineering.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this, we need to think about the anomalies captured by Voyager, Cassini, and Hubble. In the regions around Saturn and Jupiter, they've recorded these colossal structures, some spanning tens of thousands of kilometers, literally the size of Earth. And according to the dossier, these aren't just random glowing anomalies. They are highly functional components of a vast system.
Section 1. Saturn, the celestial dynamic balancer. Let's head over to Saturn's rings to see what this actually looks like in action.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the analysis from former NASA engineer Dr. Norman Bergrun. He pointed out these massive cylindrical electromagnetic vehicles, or EMVs, operating near the Anka gap and the edges of the rings. And they aren't just floating there. The hypothesis is that they're ejecting plasma from both ends to actively maintain the rings. They're even said to generate intense magnetic fields to control particle density, which creates those weird radial shadows, or spokes, we see on the ring surface.
So why on Earth, or, well, why on Saturn, is this necessary? The dossier points to a major mechanical crisis. First, the problem. Fast-spinning gas giants like Saturn are incredibly prone to rotation axis wobble, also known as precession. Think of a giant cosmic spinning top that's starting to lose its balance. Then the intervention. To stop the planet from tipping, these giant EMVs inject plasma to replenish the dense particle disk of the rings. And finally, the solution. The entire ring system acts as a massive physical flywheel. It stabilizes Saturn's rotation axis and keeps the whole planet from literally falling apart.
Bringing this together, according to the theory, these cylindrical objects are absolutely not alien joyrides or UFOs. They are permanent, vital attitude control infrastructure. The dossier concludes that they are meticulously placed and constantly running just to prevent Saturn from suffering a catastrophic mechanical collapse.
All right, moving on to Section 2, Jupiter, the electromagnetic rectifier. While Saturn has mechanical issues, the largest planet in our solar system faces a completely different but equally terrifying threat.
Over in the Jovian region, the structures change shape. We see spheres and crosses, but they are still absolutely massive, roughly the size of Earth. Take the 1994 collision of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9. The telemetry data from that event was wild. Records suggest an Earth-sized geometric luminous object actually shadowed the broken comet fragments, matching their speed and trajectory over long distances. And right before impact, this giant structure broke away with non-gravitational acceleration, totally ignoring our current laws of physics. It's almost like it was closely monitoring the impact.
To understand why this structure would be stationed at Jupiter, we have to look at the planet's unique weakness. Jupiter is constantly facing what's called the Io Plasmatorus runaway risk. Basically, the moon Io spews out massive amounts of ions, which creates a catastrophic danger of Jupiter's already intense magnetic field overheating and spinning completely out of control. And this brilliantly illustrates the hypothesized function. The dossier suggests this giant structure acts as a colossal grounding node, an earthing mechanism, deliberately parked right inside Jupiter's deadly radiation belts. To stop the runaway magnetosphere from frying the planet's core, it pulls plasma from Io, acting as a gigantic discharge and rectification system to keep everything electrically balanced.
Section 3. The paradigm shift. From UFOs to infrastructure. Let's take a step back and see how this completely shatters our understanding of anomalous phenomena in space.
When we compare these two domains, a really fascinating pattern emerges. At Saturn, you have 100,000-kilometer cylinders acting as mechanical balancers for rotational wobble. At Jupiter, you have Earth-sized spheres and crosses acting as electromagnetic rectifiers for plasma runaway. What this tells us is that each structure is completely bespoke. They are perfectly tailor-made and optimized for the specific physical or electromagnetic weakness of their host planet.
So the crucial point here is the massive difference between misconception and truth. The dossier argues we have to ditch the outdated idea that these are just transport vessels or temporary probes passing through. That totally fails to explain their permanent placement and mind-boggling scale. The truth, according to the data, is that these are permanent macroengineering products specifically built for environmental maintenance.
Looking at the hypothesized internal schematics, these aren't ships with propulsion systems. They function as celestial-scale energy conversion units. They're packed with stabilization modules designed to interact directly with the magnetic fields and physical forces of these gas giants. They are permanently integrated into the solar system itself to prevent planetary destruction.
Which brings us to Section 4, a managed solar system ecosystem. This is where we look at the ultimate conclusion and really rethink our entire place in the universe.
Jupiter, surrounded by orbital stabilization arrays. Saturn maintained by electromagnetic containment fields. If this dossier is right, our solar system is not some chaotic, naturally occurring void. With Earth-sized artifacts constantly running to prevent planetary collapse, the conclusion here is that we are living in a meticulously maintained mechanical garden, overseen by an unimaginably advanced intelligence.
And that leaves us with one final, absolutely awe-inspiring question. If these gas giants are being artificially stabilized to prevent the entire solar system from collapsing, was our solar system intentionally designed as a mechanical garden by an advanced intelligence so that civilizations like ours could easily be born? Is our cosmic neighborhood actually a highly engineered safe zone maintained by ancient architects just so a fragile planet like Earth could survive? It's a staggering thought, but according to this data, the evidence is orbiting right above our heads. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning everything.